Let's get to our power rankings of the night and then see where we have. Speaking of Detroit, we have the Tigers coming in here at number 10. Number 10 on the list here, 5-1 on the season, leading the Central Division. They started out 5-0 and just dropped their most recent game. So they're already off and running. I remember, what was it, last year they had this caller on one of their local radio stations that just went on this 8-minute.
That was the White Sox.
Or was that the White Sox? Oh, maybe
difference. I mean, it's the same difference. Same level.
Same difference.
Because the guy, he was talking about our best player is Jake Sucker.
Talking about eating salads or something stupid. Anyways. Yeah. That was one of the best rants I've ever heard in my entire life. One of the best calls I've ever heard. But the Tigers.
Wait till I introduce you to Steve Dangle.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Tigers come in 3-game sweep of the White Sox to start off the season, but doing some good things early on. Doc, we have them in here at number 10.
Yeah, so they're really just 10 just because of the fact that, they were the last winning team, undefeated team in baseball besides, the Pirates, which is crazy. Again, this is why baseball is beautiful. Hot start. Doesn't matter that, it was the White Sox who aren't going to be very good this year. But then they go in and they take two, I'm sorry, but they take 2 out of 3 from the Mets. So just the start alone, and being undefeated, being the last one gets you number 10 in my spot. Their hitting it's crazy because they're 5-1 and their top hitter is literally batting .222. So yeah. But 5-1, they're technically ahead of Cleveland, who's 6-2 by win percentage. So, do I see them staying at 10? No, I don't. But I'm just going to enjoy the ride that they provide. They're supposedly a black knight that's going to come up, a dark horse, if you will, in the Central. It's going to be Cleveland and Minnesota, if you ask me, with Detroit, and then Kansas City and Chicago following. But it's a beautiful thing about baseball. You never know.
Yeah, Rec, what are your thoughts?
I feel like Doc kind of mentioned it, but just a little disclaimer. None of these are this isn't how we think they will do. This is just how they've been doing so far. Again, like the Tigers, it doesn't matter if you play nothing but bad competition. If you keep winning, that counts for something.
Right. So that's a good point. So these are based off of how they're currently. This is how I do my NBA power rankings. It's how they're playing at the moment. It's not maybe how we think they're going to finish at the end of the season. Not maybe how we think they're going to rank when it comes to the grand scheme of contender rankings by any means. It's just how they're playing right now. Is that correct?
Right. We kind of went over that just so that way everybody's aware. 5-1, 6-1, whatever your teams are, unless they're an actual powerhouse, which you'll see as we get further along. You'll understand why the rankings are the way they are.
All right, so here we go. Let's get to.
Yeah, we made that ranking when they were 5-0, and then they lost.
Of course.
Baseball is never over until my sister-in-law sings. You're right. That's absolutely correct. That's absolutely right.
Can we get a clip of that to put at the end of streams?
That's true. We should. Next up, we got number 9, the Milwaukee Brewers, who right now
Milwaukee's at?
Milwaukee 4-1, sitting right behind Pittsburgh, 1 game behind Pittsburgh Pirates as we sit right now. They just lost their most recent game, but they started out 4-0 on the season, and here we are sitting here at number 8. I mean 9. Sorry, 9.
Yeah, with them. So the Brewers, they're supposedly, they're supposed to be one of the winners of the Central, if not the winner of the Central, regardless of them rebuilding, whatever. They have this young guy, Jackson Chourio. Keep an eye on him, because if I was a betting man, I would put Rookie of the Year on him right now. I would lock it in. The guy already hit his first career homer. He's fast. He can throw. He can do everything. They are really solid across the board. Nothing that's gonna exponentially stand out to you, but they get it done. And they took 3 from the Mets. The first game was postponed. and then they beat the Twins and then lost to the Twins, who are favorites for the AL Central. So right now I have them at 9. Will they move up? Probably. But right now, just the way that baseball is going and the way that they're playing, I just think that them at 9 is a good spot.
By the way, Jackson Churio, 3.5 to 1 on your money. Second only to Yamamoto out in LA as the National League Rookie of the Year. So get your money in on that National League Rookie of the Year while you still got value, because you're going to get like a month or two into the season, maybe halfway through the season, and Jackson Churio starts climbing that leaderboard and those odds in FanDuel and DraftKings and all the different spaces. Make sure you get your money in now. You heard it from Doc. Let's go.
Yeah.
And also, throwing it in there on Churio, the Brewers gave him like an 8-year deal before he even made it to AAA.
Yep.
They threw him a lot of money before he got even close to sniffing the show.
I mean, again, you guys know baseball way, way deeper than I do, so I feel it. I'll put a little sprinkle on Churio.
I can feel it all the way down
feel
to my
it.
plums.
I feel
it.
Down in my
Feel it in your
plums.
loins.
Feel it down in my plums.
Feel it down in my
I
plums.
can feel it all the way down in my plums.
There we go. Next up.
It is impressive. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Because it's impressive that they've been waiting like this too, considering they traded the face of the franchise for a bag of peanuts.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 bags of peanuts.
True.
They
they're
traded away
expired.
Corbin Burns for guys that sucked in Baltimore.
It's crazy.
I guess they thought it, reinvented the wheel, I guess, that's what they say. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But here you go. Next up, we have the Minnesota Twins. Minnesota Twins coming in here at number 8. Currently sitting right now at, where are they at? 3-3. They lost their most recent game. They're 2 games back of the Tigers and the Guardians, who are ahead of them in the AL Central. But why are we having the Twins in this spot at number 8 early on in the season here?
So last year, obviously the Central was one of the worst teams. The worst divisions in all baseball, literally. But with what the powerhouse names that they have on that team, they're going to come around. They're a top 10 team. Last year they were extremely well at pitching. The hitting has to come around a little bit for them, but Kirilloff, their left fielder, he's batting .409. They're just not getting a lot of production on the offensive side. The pitching is still trying to figure itself out, but they've kind of made a little bit of moves. But like I said, they ended up running into Jackson Churio, and unfortunately with the Brewers. So they beat the Royals 2 out of 3. Then they tied with the Brewers 1-1. They split the series, and then they lost a tough game to the Guardians, who are another team that are supposedly in the running for the AL Central. So they've lost an important one, but to me, by the end of the season, you're going to see that Minnesota will be one of the best teams in AL Central. Again, just like the Milwaukee version, this year Milwaukee's a little bit different with the pitching, obviously Burns being traded, but they are spectacular in the bullpen, and they're hitting. Byron Buxton's a great hitter, one of the best. If Kirilloff can keep this up, if they can get Royce Lewis to wake up a little bit, they'll be fine. That's why I have them at 8.
Yeah, and by the way, you have them at 8 here. They're the favorites currently to win the AL Central via FanDuel Sportsbook. They're plus 110 on the season to win that division. So they're still going to be in the mix, but that doesn't change the fact that the Tigers, the Royals, they're going to be the Guardians. They're all going to be. It's going to be kind of a nice little battle royale in that division to try to just take advantage and try to get
Battle Royale, except for the Royals.
Except for the Royals, maybe the Royals, maybe fall off a little bit,
Bobby Witt's trying his best. All right,
they're doing what they can, right? they're doing what they can.
Right.
Buxton
And
is sweet.
also, you guys could take a look at the articles that I posted, that got posted recently. They go into a little bit more detail about each of the teams that we talk about for the most part. So
ActionLabSports.com in the chat is how you can find those articles on what to expect going into the season. Some really good information on Doc that he's put out there for you guys to check out and just read on some of these teams. So go check that out, actionlabsports.com. Next up, number 7, the Arizona Diamondbacks, who obviously have been a pretty good team in the last couple of seasons. 4-3 right now to start out this particular season. They lost their last game, but still second behind the LA Dodgers, 2 games back of the Dodgers.
Yeah, with Arizona, this is where they ended up last year. So the talent they have. They have a lot of young guys. The pitching's great. Their hitting's great. Their fielding's great.
Mute rec.
With them being 4-3, it's a little bit of a slower start than I expected. They did take 3 or 4 from the Rockies. Sorry, Rockies. And then they kind of ran into a white hot Yankees team. They lost 2 or 3. Now we see tomorrow they play the Braves. Now we see, is Arizona for real? I know it's early, but all these games matter now. You're playing every team in the league, so you got to get them while you can. Get your guys in there, get after it. Ketel Marte is a stud. Christian Walker, Gurriel Jr. already has 10 RBIs. Christian Walker has 3 homers. So if they can continue with the success that they had at the end of last year, where they went on that historic run and made it to the World Series and everything like that, that's why I have them here. I would have had them higher, but they, like I said, when they ran into the Yankees, it brought them down a little bit. So I think where I have them at is a really good spot right here, because there's room to climb, and if they do good against the Braves, then obviously it would slide up. So there you go.
All right. I like it. Number 6, the Pittsburgh Pirates, your boys. We got them coming here in at number 6. Now,
yes,
you got the Pittsburgh Pirates leading the division 6-1 in the NL Central as we sit right now, and plus 19 differential, one of the best in the National League, only behind the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Atlanta Braves. But your boys coming in here at number 6.
Yeah, so to color me surprised, okay, I did not expect this at all. I was very excited with the youth movement and the guys that we traded for. We got Michael Taylor from the Nationals. He's been fantastic. He's I think second in hitting right now in all of the majors. The pitching's doing all right. Our bullpen has been phenomenal. I already had my rant on Mitch Keller. I'm not even going to go into that, because you will see the fire come out. But they have the tools right now with the youth, even with our injuries that we had to ND, to one of our other pitchers, whose name is Oviedo, I think, one of them. They both have UCL surgery. The youth movement has really stepped up. And then with Kutch, Michael Taylor, Perez pitched today for us. He came off, World Series. So we have the right mix. I just think the problem is the experience now. And, we obviously have Skeens, Tamar Johnson, Bubba Watson. We have a lot of youth coming up. And so we're finally getting to see what we should have had years ago. And now our minor league system is starting to grow and get to the majors. And so at 6-1, I have us at 6. Because I just feel like with the start that they had, it's against Miami, it's against Washington, but it's how we did it. They're scoring runs. It's not like last year and years past where it's 1-0. The pitching staff's getting held out to dry. No, we're scoring runs. We're literally the 4th highest, like you said, scoring team in baseball. So it's not just they only beat Miami. Oh, they only beat the Nationals, but it's how we're doing it. And so now, once we get to these top 5, you'll see why I have the Pirates at 6.
You're doing it with offense. 12 different players drove in at least one run in their first 5 games, while the bullpen was 4-0 with a 1.85 ERA. in that time frame. So pretty good there. Brian Reynolds, by the way, drove in 8 runs in the first week, which is pretty good too. You'll take that as a Pittsburgh Pirates fan. So, hey, Pirates looking good to start the season here.
And plus they got Paul Skeens coming up next year probably.
He'll probably be up at some point this year.
That's what Keep Close said in the chat.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's.
I think I saw a thing. I think I actually saw a thing like in my little private Pittsburgh group thing. It said like Paul Skeens has I been told he's coming up in June.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, they have him in AAA now for a reason. He's going to he's facing either people that have been in the show or going to the show, so he's in the right spot at Indy. He's playing with a lot of guys that have been there. So, he has a very good mentorship. The coaching there is amazing. So I look forward to him coming up, but I want to make sure that he comes up for the right reasons and that he actually gets to play. They're not going to hold back his innings because how baseball is now. Oh, we got to rest the arm, or we got to skip a start or something like that. Let the kid come up and pitch and just go with it. Don't have any expectations. He already has enough of those coming up through the system, coming out of LSU, coming out of all that. So if I was like Derek Shelton, I'd be just letting the kid come up, say, hey, you're going to do this. We get to that point, that's fine, but just worry about it. That's it.
There you go. Next up, number 5, we have the Baltimore Orioles coming in here next on our power rankings. So, Baltimore Orioles looking pretty good so far. 4-2 to start the season, plus 14 point differential, and winners of their last game. But Baltimore sitting behind the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox as we sit here by 1.5 games of first place, the New York Yankees. So go ahead. Let's talk about the Baltimore Orioles.
Sure. So I know they're behind Boston, and I probably could have put Boston on this list, but for Baltimore, they were the sweethearts of America last year for baseball. The youth movement has finally come to Baltimore. To be a homer for a second, it was just like Pittsburgh, where Baltimore and us were literally the same team, always in the basement, not having the talent, or it gets traded away. Now both teams are finally getting that youth moving up, the soil's starting to turn. They have immense talent, top to bottom of the lineup. Pitching, they got Corbin Burns. They've done really well. Tyler Wells has done okay. He got roughed up a little bit, but he's a pretty good guy. Grayson Rodriguez is going to be an absolute stud. He has a 1.5 ERA in 6 innings so far. It's really early with these, so don't take these to heart and say wow, I can't believe you put them here or there. But last year, this team won 100 games, and they got better in the pitching aspect. And they are my favorite to win the AL East. Not by much. I think them and the Yankees are going to be neck and neck all the way down to the last game. But with their pitching staff and the offense, there's this little kid named Adley Rushman who hit bombs at the home run derby from both sides of the frickin' plate. So he's batting .333. He has 7 hits. He's batting very well. They're getting production top to bottom of the lineup. Multiple guys with at least 3 RBIs. Santander is playing phenomenal. He's just not hitting yet, but once his hitting comes back, I look for Baltimore to be at the top, early and often throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, they're seeking their second straight AL East title because they won last year. But based off of the fact that they're second place behind the Yankees this year and they're 2.5 to 1, you're getting a little value on betting that. Otherwise,
right.
You still got Jackson Holiday, which, by the way, he was left off the opening day roster, which is kind of crazy. And when they talked to Mike Elias about this, the manager for the club, it was more of just the fact they wanted to get him more reps in AAA, hitting left-handed pitching and things, right?
That's baseball talk. That's baseball talk for we don't want to start his clock too early. We want to keep him down the minors so we can have his contract extend another year. Yeah.
So
so it's just like Skeens, exactly.
You're just trying to figure that all out. But he's still going to be one of the better players once he develops and becomes something that they can rely on more readily. So There you go. Next,
The big thing for Baltimore this offseason was it wasn't even on the field or on the coach's box. Their owners sold the team, so now they finally have an owner that's willing to spend money. Like even last year when they were winning 100 games, Warriors fans are like, "Yeah, this is so cool, but like, how long is this going to last? Like, are we going to have him for 3 years before they demand real money and get traded?" Now they have an owner that can actually pay him out, and Orioles fans can actually be excited again. They don't have to be worried about losing their favorite players in 2026.
and Angelo's family are notoriously cheap, says STG. Orioles messed up
Yeah, they are.
Orioles messed up my bet a couple days ago, so they're a bunch of haters to me, says Tori. Yeah. I'll take that. Yeah, take the money out of your pocket.
Yeah.
Orioles are taking money out of your pocket, Tori. Not
funny that
That's literally
the
rude.
Angelos, the Angelos family, they traded for Burns and then immediately sold the team right after that. It's
Right.
like, yeah,
Crazy.
you know we might mess y'all up a little bit. Here's a nice little parting gift before we F off.
That's so he pulled a Lovie Smith in Houston last year, pretty much.
Yes.
Or
Here's
the year
a
before.
good gift for you. You're gonna need this.
Here, I'm gonna go ahead and
Gone.
win this last game, so you screw up your draft pick, and yet here we are with Houston.
Right.
All right, number 4, we have the Atlanta Braves coming in here, which, by the way, Atlanta Braves are, I mean, they're kind of the cream of the crop when it comes to the NL. Most recently, right? They're 3-2, leading the NL East as we sit today. But the of their division, think about this: in the NL East, they're a plus 21 in run differential. You want to know the rest of the teams in that division? -14, -11, -13, and -30. That's pretty damn.
Jesus.
That's pretty brutal. It's just,
Rocky's brutal.
I mean, that's rough.
That's right. The Marlins are right there. So,
So their division is just bleeding runs. Except for obviously the Atlanta Braves. But here we go. We have them here sitting in as one of the top contenders in the NL at number 4.
yeah. We know what they did last year. We know what happened. They ran into it, and they literally, I don't know how they didn't get out of it. Like, I don't know how they didn't get to the World Series. It literally baffles me with the talent that they have on that team from top to bottom, pitching staff, bullpen. It blows my mind. But, they're 3-2, took 2 or 3 from a Phillies team that's going to be very good this year. They're a very gritty, tough team. Then they lose 3-2 to the White Sox, which has me scratching my head, but it's also baseball. It's early. Teams, it's very hard to gauge a season off of 5 games for some teams, 6, 7 for others. But to go from a 9-0 shutout to losing 3-2 when you have that much firepower, if this happens more often than not, then there's going to be a little bit of trouble brewing there. But it's way too early to really be saying anything on that aspect. But like you said, with the run differential, they beat them 9-3, 12-4, and then they beat the White Sox 9-0. But in their losses, they only scored 3 and 4 runs. So is it the offense that's really carrying, or is it the pitching? Because, the pitching gave up 3 runs, 4 runs, 5 runs, none, and then 3. So the hitting, I think, is going to have to be pretty much where it's at. And I think they'll be fine. They're going to win, obviously, more than they lose. I think we can agree on that, as everyone's betted on them as a favorite, right? But I just think that tomorrow, like I said earlier, for Arizona, they play each other tomorrow night. So we'll see who's really a contender early and who needs to work on things.
Yeah, absolutely. Rec, anything else you want to add there to the Atlanta Braves?
Like he said, like we'll probably have a much better power rankings list next week when people stop playing bottom feeders the whole time. Yeah, the Braves, they have all the talent in the world. Like they're the Dodgers, but with better spending habits.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, they're Dodgers, but they don't throw millions of dollars at everything that exists.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They just have there's a fan that hits a good ball and during they're doing some fan event and they just gave him $100 million check right then and there. Braves have a good idea of how to spend their money wisely so they can get some of these other guys so they can make the Chris Sale trade. Again, they are setting themselves up well for the trade deadline.
Yeah, we're also young too, and they have pieces that they can move. So Atlanta is set up very well for the future, and if they decide they want to go out and get a veteran for a rental or whatever, they have the pieces to do so, and they'll be just fine.
By the way, speaking of the Braves, we're gonna probably have to do a full segment on this at some point because we know how much you guys love food. They have a food menu that includes something called a 4-bagger. It's 4 burgers, 1 pound of beef brisket, Reaper pepper mayo, jalapenos, cheese, and beer battered onion rings, all on one plate. I mean,
that's probably $50,
and it's probably a shit ton. We're gonna probably do a food segment because not only that, but there's some other things that are out there in the food. Baseball food world. By the way, baseball, is there any sport that does food better than baseball? Probably not.
No, there's not.
Probably not.
No.
But
yeah, because even when you don't have like the fancy food, like you go to a minor league ballpark, get like pay $2 for one of the best hot dogs you'll ever have.
Right.
Cuban.
And also speaking of Braves foods, I'm posting this in the Twitch chat. Take a look at this monster.
Go to the Twitter. Go check it out. Take a look. Cuban Benny, you have to unhinge your jaw to take a bite of it. Yes, you have to be turning yourself into a freaking python or an anaconda to make sure you can eat anything that's on that menu.
Did you see what the Pirates did? So the Pirates went and did something with pierogies and pickles.
I did see that, like pierogies, pickles, onions. Something else.
Yeah, you need to take a look at it. I was like, this is the most Pittsburgh thing I've ever seen.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy stuff.
Yeah. I know. I posted a bunch in the food chat on the Discord, like including the one I just posted in the Twitch chat.
Yeah.
I see what else I've had.
Go check it out, guys. Go into the Discord.
Here's one from the Phillies: onion ring, bun, onion ring, bacon, cherry pepper relish, sharp. Stupid sharp American burger, brisket, bun.
It's crazy.
And same thing, you got unhinge your jaw.
Unhinge it. Try to get it all in.
Some Tums shit.
Gosh, man. That's why we are where we're at in America with all of our weight issues. Because we have all these things happen, but they're delicious though. They're delicious. Special Joey in the chat. You guys are such talented streamers. Your content takes me back to better days, like that time back in 1998 when The Undertaker threw Mankind off Hell in a Cell and plummeted 16 feet through an announcer's table. By the way,
fun fact, I was there.
No shit, you were there. You were there.
Pittsburgh. It was in Pittsburgh. I was there.
No shit. That was one of the most iconic, most memorable. Because I was a big wrestling fan back. We got WrestleMania.
I used to
coming
get the
up.
box. Everyone, the little box you used to rent. Yeah, I used to get that every time.
WrestleMania is coming up this weekend, and by the way, I it's my soap opera, so I watch it in the background. I get a lot of my wrestling content through social media, but
it's great. There's so much out there now.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So,
right.
But shout out to Special Joey on one of the best moments. It's one of the most memorable moments I can remember because I grew up in the Attitude Era of WWE. So, Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Undertaker. But I even go back to WCW with NWO and some of some of those guys, Diamond Dallas Page, and back in the day. So
right,
good old days, man. Good old days.
Right.
WWF was awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Now it's the Wildlife Foundation or whatever.
70s. Yeah, exactly. Next up, we get the Texas Rangers coming in here.
The World Series champions.
That's right. Yep. By the way, not starting out great this season, 2-5, but that doesn't change the fact that they had that no-hitter that we were talking about already. So
that was the Astros.
Astros. Sorry. My bad. Astros. But here we are. We have them slotted in here at number 3.
Yeah. So I have them at 3. You know, the defending World Series champions. They're off to a pretty good start. They're 4-2. Took 2 or 3 from the Cubs. Took 2 or 3 from the Rays. Again, this is another one of those teams. They go and play the Astros tomorrow. So we get to see what they're really like. Are they really going to be for real like they were last year? They lost some pieces. You know, you don't know what you're going to get. But, you know, Adolis Garcia has done well. He's got the power coming back. Josh Jung is batting .412. You know, the pitching's there. This is another team that I have up there with Houston with the potential to win the West. So I have them at 3, give them the benefit of the doubt being World Series champions. Plus, they've started out 4-2. They have the pieces. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and get something else for a playoff run. Come, you know, the trade deadline, you're going to see it. I just think this year's trade deadline is going to be insane. You're going to have surprise teams making the playoffs. You're going to have surprise teams missing or at odds of missing the playoffs, and they're going to make trades. So look for it to be a spicy baseball season, I feel like, this year. But, you know, I just look at Texas, and I'm just right there because, you know, Nathan Eovaldi came in there, and nobody thought he was going to do what he's done since he left Boston. 1.38 ERA in his start with 11 strikeouts. So, you know, I think they're going to be on the right track. So I have them at 3, and you'll see why they're at 3 coming up.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Wyatt Langford also rocking and rolling with the Texas Rangers. Number 4 overall in 2023 out of Florida. Became just the 44th player to be intentionally walked in his debut. Though he had worked a 3-0 count before the pass was issued. But, you know, hey, he's doing his thing.
And of course, they got the they got the top prospect up, Evan Carter. He's supposed to make a big.
Right.
He's supposed to have a big season here for his first full year. Yeah, I actually did a lot of streams on playback last year, watching what he can do.
Special
I
Joey.
even streamed his debut.
Special
Right.
Joey in the chat. The disrespect to keeping the Cubs out of the top 10. I know. Same thing with the Rockies. I don't know what the deal is.
I mean, the Cubs are 4-2. I get it. They're good. Okay, but I can only fit 10 teams on here, and the Tigers are on here because of their hot start. Okay, they'd probably be at 10. I know they're 4-2. I get it. They're there, you know, but they took three of those wins are against the Rockies, so that held them back a little bit.
Hey. Let's stop the Rockies slander. It's like making fun of a homeless person. You know they're already in a bad position. You know that they're in a bad spot. Why even pile on? You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I had to because they're talking about the Cubs.
Here
so
we
I had
are.
to mention them. I'm sorry.
I get it. I know. I got you.
Listen, if I could, I would go and reincarnate Cargo for you guys to come play for you guys again. Okay.
Oh man. It's our life.
Yeah, the Rockies are definitely in the 1 spot. You know it.
That's right, Cuban. That's
It's
right.
like spinning at Chris Bryant.
Number 2, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers. No surprise here. They're usually in this mix because they pay for it. They pay to be it's like when you pay on a subscription service to be like the best of the best, or you pay to be like have your name on the top of the billboard or whatever it is. You know, you pay to get the players to get you to this point. Dodgers do that. They're 7-2. They're pay to play. They're on a 4-game win streak, 7-2 in their last 10, obviously, because they're 7-2. But here we are, number 2, the Dodgers.
Yeah, you know, I have them at number 2. Literally can be interchanges with who we're going to say at number 1. You guys could literally go back and forth and chat about it. I had literally went back and forth about it. You know who they have. You know the star power, top to bottom. You know, Ohtani, Mookie Betts. You know, they got all these guys. You know, Freddie Freeman. You know, with their pitching, they went out and got, you know, Glass now, who's turned himself back into how he was when the Pirates before we got rid of him in the trade that should have never happened. But you know, they have the hitting, they have the pitching, they have the bullpen, they have it all. They're a full team, they're a playoff team, they're a potential World Series champion every year. You know, it's just a matter of when, not if. And you see with the 7-2 start, 3 or 4 from the Cardinals, swept the Giants. Now they play the Cubs tomorrow. So I'm just interested to see if they keep this up, if they keep this start up. Is 100 wins the minimum for them at this point with the lineup that they have, with the pitching that goes out there? You know, I have them as the most wins in baseball. I think they're going to have about 100 to 105 wins. That's just my opinion, unless some catastrophic things happen. You know, there is the Ohtani situation, you know, with the gambling thing. So if something should happen with that, that'd be a huge blow. But even then, they would still reload and find a way to pay somebody else to come in. So I just think that the Dodgers at 7-2 here at number 2 could be number 1, but right here I just have them at 2.
Mookie Betts, by the way, in 42 plate appearances, has 16 hits, including Major League best 5 home runs, 9 walks. OPS is 1.686. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's pretty good. The rich get richer, basically. Dodgers can win 100 games, but they'll choke against the wild card team. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, the Dodgers, they're exactly how you talk about the Avalanche.
Whoa,
The
whoa,
Bills,
whoa,
like a lot
whoa.
of these other. What?
Avalanche are champs.
No, let me explain. No, let me explain how. Let me explain. like how you talk about the Avs, how you talk about like maybe the Chiefs, like talking about some of these other teams. The regular season means nothing. Even if they lose Ohtani, the regular season means nothing. They're just kind of playing. They're just playing to play it.
Yeah.
Nothing matters for this team until October.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Like they're just going through the motions until it really matters. You just want to you've already studied for the test. You just want to take it.
What were you saying?
I was just laughing at Keep Close saying this is such a Steelers perspective on the Avs.
hey, that's what Chris and Scotty say. That's what they say.
I mean, you're not wrong. So yeah, I mean, Dodgers, it's inevitable. They're going to be in the mix. Whether or not they can actually get it done when it matters,
Right.
That's what's all. But they're going to be there. They're going to be winning a shit ton of games.
Yeah, like even if
they should at least make it to the NLCS at a minimum.
even if they
you
lose
know what?
Ohtani, they're still gonna win.
Are
a
the
lot.
LA Dodgers the Boston Celtics of baseball?
Yes.
Basically,
I don't even have to think about it. Yes.
They're basically the Boston Celtics of baseball, where they win a shit ton of games. They're always expected to win and go on and do something big, and they always choke at some level and don't live up to the expectations that they're supposed to.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Keep Close. Yes, they've won championships, but they've also lost plenty of times where they were supposed to be champions. So I understand your sentiment with the championship talk, but the fact that the Dodgers lost to teams that they shouldn't have multiple years in a short span, that's why I look at it like that. Yeah, they had one, but they should probably have 3 or 4.
Like the Miami Heat, like your Miami Heat Keep Close. You should know.
Yeah. Even the one that they have, the one that the Dodgers have, it was in a season where they played 60 regular season games.
Like, you should know, Miami Heat take care of the Boston Celtics every single year. You know, you just lay low and you just wait for them to, come and just choke in the playoffs when it really matters.
But that's baseball too, though. You run into teams that arguably could be hotter. You get pitching, you don't get hitting. That's the beauty of baseball.
That's right. Which takes us.
I remind you that the Washington Nationals won the World Series a while back. That's how you know things are insane.
Key point.
That takes us to our number 1, the New York Yankees, coming in here
unfortunately
at the top. 6-1 on the season, leading the American League East over Boston by a game at this point. We have them here at number 1.
Yeah, I have them at number 1 just based off of who they beat. You look at their opening series, they literally swept the Astros, and usually they have problems with them. And, it's early. So like I said, take it with a grain of salt. Take it for what you will. Take it at face value. Don't. That's on you. But they swept the Astros, and they nearly
on
swept
the road.
The Diamondbacks, exactly. It was in Houston. And so not only did you do that to Houston, but to go in there and go up against the NL champion Diamondbacks and take 2 or 3, you know, they deserve the number 1 spot. You know, Juan Soto, 10 of 29, a homer, 4 RBIs. You know, he's doing his thing. He's batting 345. You know, the hitting's not exactly great there yet. And, you know, Volpe's actually doing his thing. He's 9 of 22. He had problems hitting last year. You know, Rizzo's 222. Judge is off to a slow start as well. But the fact that they're 6-1 and they're hitting like this, when you know they get everything up and running, they're going to be very dangerous. And I had them, like I said, finishing about a game behind Baltimore, which doesn't mean that they will, but them and Baltimore are going to be really fun to watch in the AL East coming up, especially when they start matching up against each other. But the strength of how they beat these teams at the beginning of the season is why I have them at 1. A lot of teams have them favored as well, especially with the addition of Juan Soto. So, you know, Judge and Soto is a very scary back-to-back in a lineup. So, you know, I just think the difference is going to be, can their pitching match Baltimore now that Baltimore got Burns? I'm interested to see what the Yankees do come around the trade deadline and see where they stand in the order and see what they do. But right now, it's definitely Yankees at 1.
Do they still have DJs as Cuban? Yes, I think they do, but he's on the injured list. He's on the 10.
Yeah, he hasn't played.
He's injured.
Okay.
Yeah, he hasn't been around. Judge, Soto, Verdugo, Stanton. Sheesh.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It was like 2009.
Man, I remember like my second, like, it's weird to say, like, this doesn't exist as my fandom. Like, Rockies, Mets, Rockies number 1, Mets number 2. If I had to go for an AL team, it's blasphemy as a Mets fan, as my secondary, to be a Yankees fan. But my grandfather was a Yankees fan. He'd be absolutely pissed off that I said that the Mets are better than the Yankees ever, because but I will say I went to some games back when they had Bernie Williams and the heyday of some of those Tino Martinez and those games. I went to some of those games and sat with the bleacher creatures out in Paul O'Neill in the right field. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I just could never afford to go to those games, so my affiliation was with the Mets. But that doesn't mean I still don't root for the Yankees when they're in the mix, because, I mean, I don't have any other affiliations towards any other AL teams as much as I do the 2 New York teams that I grew up visiting as a kid. So, you know what? I don't hate the fact that the Yankees are in first place. Are they a team that I actively root for? No. But I'll take it. I'll take it, right? Because all my other NL teams are shit.
Yeah, I understand that. And a fun fact: do you know who O'Neill Cruz is named after?
Is it Paul O'Neill?
It is.
No shit.
It is.
Hey.
O'Neill Cruz. Yeah, his father's favorite player was Paul O'Neill.
Woo! Yep. That's sweet. That's sweet. Love it.
That's crazy, isn't it?
That's crazy. Chuck Knobloch, yeah.
Good old Chucky.
Chuck Knobloch, and then obviously you have the Sandman closing out games. You know, right. I mean, it's just, I mean, those teams back when I was growing up were insane. Chris has more favorite teams that could fit on his power rankings list. You might be right. You might be right. But there you have it. We have 10 teams. I have one team that I can actually say I might actually have some sort of affiliation for. But Paul O'Neill told me to fuck off when I was 6. Hey.
I believe that.
F around and find out, right? Keep close.
So why are you all on the Yankees again? Keep close. Why are you all over the Yankees?
Well, did you fuck off?
I mean,
you might have to root for the Yankees if your Mets keep this up, unfortunately.
At that point, you know, it is what it is, right?
Oof.
At least you prevented the no-hitter, I guess. I don't know.
But there you go. We have a top 10 power rankings initially early on in this season. Tigers, Brewers, Twins, Diamondbacks, Pirates from 10 to 6. And then top 5, Orioles, Braves, Rangers, Dodgers, and Yankees. And we will be going through these more and more. We'll try to do more baseball streams on Thursday night. So make sure you guys stay tuned. We got Doc, we got Rec hanging out with us, dropping us some knowledge on baseball season coming up here. So make sure you tune in. ActionLabSports.com is where you can find all of our baseball articles and everything else that we have going on with all of our other NBA and NFL articles as well. So make sure you go join ActionLabSports.com, see all the community and what we're writing, because we have a very talented community here in Action Lab Sports.